to another edition of the Art Lewis Show, brought to you by Westside Decorating Center, 5789 State Street in Saginaw, your one-stop shop for everything you need for home decorating. You're going to find it at Westside Decorating Center. And a good morning, back in the saddle again after about 10 days off, a little vacation. Glad to be back with you here on WSGW. Expecting to hear from a guest this morning. Until we do, though, we'll have open phones at 989-752-6111. Spent at least 6 days up in the Upper Peninsula, which I haven't done in a long time. Matter of fact, it's probably only the third time in all the years that I've lived in Michigan that I crossed the Mackinac Bridge. Went to Sault Ste. Marie once many years ago. Went to the same place I did this time, Garden, Michigan. A few years back, took in Picture Rocks and all that. And this time, we did Escanaba, Iron Mountain, Kitchity Kippy. And it was really neat and nice and relaxing, too, which is what I really liked about it. Matter of fact, so relaxing, the phone service is very, very poor where I was, and rarely does your phone ring. Now, that is about to change because they've just built a Verizon tower like within a half a mile of where I stayed, so their phone service will greatly change here shortly. But it was very nice. It's, you tend to really appreciate the size of Michigan and the scope of activities available and the many sites that are available. Really was it was a wonderful, relaxing time. And didn't pay too much attention to the news. Caught it occasionally, but not very often. So, don't know much of what was happening other than the fact that, politics as usual. I knew that. But it's fun every now and then to get away and just turn everything off. Kind of recharge your batteries. And I have found a way, over the years, I've found a way to do that at home, too, because you just cannot go 24/7 without taking a break, So I'm a model builder. I build radio-controlled boats and the like, and when I go down in the basement to do that, I shut everything else off. Even if I'm down there just for an hour, that's an hour of total disconnect. And I think we need that today. We're inundated with news, social media, you name it. It almost seems you can't go anywhere without somehow hearing about politics or whatever. I mean, I was at a restaurant the other day, and the folks, table or two over, what were they doing? They were talking politics. And, you reach a point where I'm glad I do what I do the way I do it. Being the only talk game in town like we are, we have to do more than just politics. We talk about local issues. We talk to local people of import. And it's important because there's more to life than politics. Yeah, politics impacts our lives. No two ways about it. But there is more to life than politics. Has to be. And so I just really appreciate when I can step back and disconnect. Knowing full well when the time's up, here I am again, and what are we going to talk about, and I'm sure politics will come up. And that's fine. But when you do what I just did for 10 days, you realize how much more there is to life than just politics. And that's the part that I find refreshing. You get away, you talk to your friends, you talk about everything other than the P word. And it's cool. So here I am again, folks. Open phones, ready to talk about you know what. And that's fine. Or not. You want to talk about something else? Great. Maybe you've done some traveling to the Upper Peninsula. What did you find? I have a new favorite spot. It took me a while to learn how to pronounce it, and I'm not sure I still do. Chichirikipi. 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 There we go. Chichirikipi. Michael, help me out here. Michael Perch is in the newsroom. He knows how to say it.
Kitchitikipi.
Kitchitikipi, thank you. I want to say Chich. I don't know. Kitchitikipi, thank you. It's a beautiful, beautiful park with this emerald pool of absolutely clear water. And it was pretty interesting. I mean, it was very relaxing and just a wonderful place to be. So I have a new favorite hole, so to speak. All right, let's try the old phones here. Gene is in Bay City. Gene, good morning to you.
Good morning. We all miss you and glad you're back.
Thank you, dear.
I'm going to tell a happy story, so your program starts out not so dark as it gets in politics.
Shall I find some happy music? Or
Well, anyhow, it's about a politician, but it's a happy story. Kamala Harris, she has a husband, and
yeah.
her husband's not into politics, but he had to get up and talk about himself, tell everybody about himself at the conference. So anyway, he told a couple stories about himself, and he said he's divorced and has a daughter and a son, and a friend of his gave him her phone number and said, "I think you and her would really get along and like each other."
Oh, you mean when he met Kamala?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he thought, well, what do you say to a complete stranger, to call him up and try to talk him into going out on a date with you, So he called 8 in the morning, he called up and got the answering machine and didn't know what to say. So, he just kind of stumbled around and said a couple stupid things and left his phone number, and then he said, "That woman's never going to call me," And but anyway, she called him, and they talked for an hour, and
that's not bad on the first call.
yeah, and so he talked about how good she is to his children, and
well, here's the thing, Gene. Here's the thing. And we'll put politics aside here, whether you like Kamala Harris or you don't like Kamala Harris, doesn't matter. What these stories do is point out the fact that these folks, even in the world of politics, are human and do human things and act like humans when they're out of the political spotlight.
It was so sweet because he talked about how good she was to his children, and he's got a young daughter that is just barely a teenager, really sweet and innocent. You know how young girls are. And they had the camera on her because he was talking about that she was such a good mother to his children. And he said, well, my daughter doesn't call her Kamala. She calls her Mama-la. And they had the camera on his daughter's face, and she just put her hands over her face and was so embarrassed.
Good.
And it was so sweet. It was such a sweet moment. Like you say, they're human beings.
Yep, they're all human.
And-
That's all.
And it was just a wonderful thing to see.
Good.
And, there's so many broken families and blended families. It's so wonderful to see how many times it can work out so well.
All right. Good, Gene.
Well, thanks for listening.
You bet. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
All right. We'll get back to our phones here right after we take care of a little bit of business. Let me talk about McDonald Ford. Right there in Midland, they have a service there, Quick Lane Freeland. I'm sure you've heard me talk about Quick Lane Freeland. It's your one-stop for all your routine maintenance like brakes, tires, batteries, oil changes. You'll find it all at Quick Lane Freeland. And one other thing you'll find there is a product called FrigiFresh. It's a hospital-grade disinfectant they inject into your air conditioning system. Kills germs, odor, pollen, and all that. Mildew. Keeps you healthy in your car. Because remember, you're pretty much in an enclosed atmosphere when you drive. And it can be a petri dish. You don't want it to become. And that's where FrigiFresh comes in and keeps your car sanitized and keeps you healthy. $20 gets you FrigiFresh. It only takes 10 minutes. You don't need an appointment. Just drive in to Quick Lane Freeland for all of your routine maintenance and on any make and model car. They'll keep them in tip-top shape. Quick Lane Freeland, right next to McDonald Ford.
Sure, you've got a Detroit line.
Here on the Art and Lewis Show. Phones are locked and loaded, so we'll go back to him. Ken is in Thomas Township. Ken, good morning.
Good morning, Art. I just want to let you know we had a 2-week vacation up in the UP. Actually, we were at McLean State Park. We have a fifth wheel. It's actually 514 miles from Saginaw. And we spent 2 weeks there on Lake Superior and also went up to Copper Harbor. We have gone to Fayette State Park a number of times. Actually, we've camped, well, I call it so-called camping with a fifth wheel, but we've been up to the UP for years and years and years. We've gone up there. And we've gone to Kitchitikipi. And
Kitchitikipi.
The first time I went there, I was probably 10 or 12 years old, and my wife and I are both the same age as you are. So we've gone up there, and I can't tell you how many times we've gone to that park.
It is. It's one of those things that brings you back, doesn't it? It's attractive.
It certainly does, yeah. I can actually remember when I first went there. It's really a neat place. Fayette, of course, that was a big smelting town at one time for I believe it was iron ore, as I recall, and over the years that park has really changed. Also, the new buildings that they're preserving and putting in there, and it's the whole UP. We just love it.
It's a getaway.
All over.
It's like going to a different place. Totally. It really is.
Yeah, and as far as Escanaba, our favorite restaurant in Escanaba is the Stone House, and that's right on the corner there, and that's a fabulous restaurant.
We were going to go there, and I think we got there, and there was like an hour and a half wait.
Oh, I believe it.
So we went someplace else.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, that's just a fabulous place. Actually, when we were, McLean is just north of Houghton and Hancock up in the Keweenaw where we camped. And in Houghton, Tom Dalton from Under the Radar happened to be filming an episode there, and we met and talked with him, which was really
is that right?
unique.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Very good.
So I can understand how you enjoyed the UP, and you ought to go there more often.
I might have to.
We love it.
All right. Thanks. Take care, Ken.
Yep, take
Bye-bye
care.
now.
Bye.
Next up is Matt in Saginaw. Matt, good morning.
Good morning, Art.
Morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
I know how it feels. While you were gone, I didn't know you were gone because I was babysitting equine rescue for the week you were gone.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Now, do you have horses, or were you someplace else doing it?
No, we board our horses there, but the owners had a wedding in Colorado, so they asked if we'd sit and take care of it for a week. I tell you, I wasn't born to be. I was better as a cop, Art. I'm not a farmer.
That's funny. That's
like
funny.
I said, it was so nice to be away from the P word because I was too busy during the day to watch the news, and the cell phone reception's not real good there, which was wonderful because I could leave my phone in the camper and not
you literally
about getting a phone call.
You literally become detached.
Yes. And it was a well-needed detachment because
Excellent.
I've been busier since I retired than when I was working.
That happens.
It does.
All right,
but
Matt.
I love the UP. I'm glad you got up there. And
it was
a whole other word.
Beautiful. All right, my friend.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Good for you.
Take care.
Take care, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And Scott is in Saginaw. Scott, good morning.
Morning, Art. I guess I'm going to go back to the P word.
Of course you are.
I'm actually looking forward to the debate because I think, again, for Kamala Harris to have to talk for 2 minutes unscripted is going to be about as disastrous as it was for Joe Biden, except she's not going to be able to say cognitive decline for herself. She's going to be shown for what she is, empty and not ready for this position. And so I think it's going to be a good thing to have this debate if she shows up.
Why don't you think she'll show up?
She was already trying to get out of it. They're trying to change the rules here already.
Yeah, I know that they wanted her to have notes, but apparently they are playing by the same rules of the original debate, which I was glad to hear.
Yeah, so do I. I think that it does. It's going to do a favor. Everybody's going to get to hear what she has I should say what she doesn't have to say, because what we need to concentrate on is she said she hasn't changed her values, even though she's changed her words. Her value is the same. She is still for defunding the police.
Yeah.
She is still for an open border, even though she's saying she's not. Her value hasn't changed. And what scares me even more than that is she said about Israel that, there will be conditions on Israel with the munitions being sent there. And so Hamas already heard this. What did they do? They shot 6 more hostages. And then our blithering president here comes out and says Benjamin Netanyahu needs to settle down. He needs to take it easy.
Yeah.
The only people afraid of Joe are Republicans because them are the only people he's putting in jail right now. So I'm telling you, this woman is dangerous, Art.
All right.
This woman is very, very dangerous.
Gotcha. Thanks, Scott.
All right.
Take care.
Yep.
Bye-bye. And we go to Mike in Thomas Township. Mike, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Art. Glad you had a nice vacation.
Thanks.
It's nice up there. Listen, I read a book while you were gone. It's called The War on Warriors, and it's written by Pete Hegseth.
Hoekstra?
No, it's Hegseth.
Oh, okay, different.
I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but anyway, it's he gets into all different phases of it. But the one thing that he concentrated on in the middle of it was on the Afghan withdrawal. And we left a multi-billion-dollar air base that Trump didn't want to give. He left $7 billion worth of the equipment there. That's a big number. There were 10,000 air-to-ground munitions, probably missiles.
Yeah, there's nothing new about this, Mike.
No, but the quantity of stuff: 40,000 military vehicles, 300,000 personal weapons, 42,000 night vision.
Yeah, okay. We've heard all these numbers before, though.
Well, yeah, I don't think
Nothing's
I've heard
changed.
the numbers. I've heard the total, and but the 73 aircraft, that was probably the worst thing that they did. But the air base itself, that was God. I mean, that's such a valuable asset. I mean, $7 billion worth of stuff,
okay.
and nobody cares. Well, but the They never did anything with military people.
You know what? I'm more
it,
interested in the 13 lives that were lost.
Yeah, well, that was another thing. And there's, what did they say, 24 or something like that. Other guys that were wounded in it. I think I heard that yesterday. That, it's just what they're doing to this country is crazy.
Okay, don't vote for them. I mean, that's the answer.
I'm not going to vote for them, but I hope that other people don't listen to Fox or read books, but they listen to your radio station. And I'm hoping that Trump just settles down and just keep on running the ads about her on NBC, ABC, CBS. The ones that the people do listen to.
Okay.
And maybe they'll get the word, but I don't know.
Good enough.
Take care, my
Thanks.
friend.
Bye-bye. Bye. And Errol and Al, hang on. We'll get to you after these notes.
Do you know that air duct cleaning is...
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW. Open phones till about 11 o'clock this morning. Errol is in Saginaw. Good morning, friend. You'll be happy to know I've renewed my Nexus card.
Good for you. I've got a question.
Got to visit your homeland,
If I walk up and down in front of the station, would I have any success not allowing you to go on vacation 6 months before the election so you can keep an even keel on this place?
Nope.
Would that work?
Nope.
What do you mean, nope?
Just what I said.
Get some more people. Yeah. Okay, now, in all your vacation stuff that you did, Art, have you ever been to Cape Breton Island?
I have not.
Okay.
No, wait. Breton Island? Yeah. In Nova Scotia you're talking about.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely. Done the whole circle.
Yeah, it is. I think it's one of the most beautiful places on the planet.
As long as you don't do it in the fog, it is.
Well, that's true. The Cabot Trail is beautiful.
Yeah, the Cabot Trail is wonderful.
Yeah, on the far end of it, there's a cemetery, and everyone in those three cemeteries are named Burton. That's where my Welsh ancestors decided to park their backsides when they got over there, and they always called the people from Newfoundlanders that they were nothing but Cape Brittoners with their brains kicked out, and they had a kind
they
of
weren't real
rivalry,
happy. They weren't real happy with the French either.
No. All the time I was growing up, the French were called francophones, and you know why? Because if you put two Frenchmen in a room of English-speaking people, they decided to talk French. We called them francophones all the time I was growing up, and that's known all over Canada. French are francophones, and I was just curious if you ever taken a trip there. It is beautiful.
I love Nova Scotia as a place.
Yes, it is. Do you know the one thing? Halifax is noted for one thing. They had a French ammunition ship blow up during the Second World War.
Yep.
The biggest explosion before the atomic bomb in history. It leveled Halifax completely.
Yep.
But it is nice down there. People are all friendly and that that kind of thing. Although Saginaw, we are wonderful people here. I just have a short fuse once in a while. Well, not all the time, but I'm kind of even going, and I agree with. No, I don't agree with everyone. And this election is no different. It's all right. Vote for the dog catcher. We'll talk to you later.
All right, Errol. Take care, buddy.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
And we'll talk to Al in Bay City. Al, good morning.
Morning, Arthur. I got a couple of places. I don't know if you visited them, but one that I think is probably rated in the top 10 in the world is Longwood Gardens in Leesburg, Pennsylvania. If you haven't been there, I'm telling you, it's really beautiful.
Yep, been there.
Place. And also, did you get a chance to go to Marquette, to the Superior Dome?
I did not. No, not this
that's
trip.
Where all the a lot of sports is down there. We were up there when Saginaw Valley played Northern Michigan.
Yeah,
that's quite a nice place to go to.
Yeah, we didn't get there this time. I think we were up there. Last time we went up, we were in Marquette.
So, but those are two really nice places to go to.
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay,
all right.
Thanks. Bye.
Take care, Al. Bye-bye now. They're actually, the scope and the breadth of the state of Michigan in terms of just sheer mileage is pretty impressive. Pretty impressive when you think about it. And the Upper Peninsula is, I mean, literally where I was in Garden, Michigan, which is about an hour and a half west of the Mackinac Bridge off of 2. You want to get anywhere, it's at least 25 miles, at least, if not more. But it's beautiful driving, gorgeous country. So it was another eye opener. It was one of those eye openers for me. You know, you get to places where you haven't been in a long time, or you haven't been very often, and it teaches us something new every time. So, anyhow, we'll take a pause. Come back. Lines open for you, 989-752-6111. Whatever you'd like to chat about. We're going to do it right up through 11 o'clock.
Ready to save.
All right, back with you here on WSGW, the Art Lewis Show. My thanks, by the way, to Matt Falon and Charlie Root for filling in while I was on vacation. Appreciate it. Just in case you keep track, my next vacation will be the first week in November. Just thought I'd bring that up. I get to do something. The first time I did this was last year. I have a friend who is a car restorer and hot rodder, and talked me into going to the SEMA show in Las Vegas. The SEMA show is the Specialty Equipment Marketing Association. They make all the aftermarket products for hot rods and things like that, along with Apex, which is the organization representing repair shops and stuff like that. It's probably the second biggest show in Las Vegas. It is huge. And so I went out last year, liked it so much, I decided I'll do it again. So going out to SEMA in November and tool around and take a look at some of the most magnificent automobiles you can imagine they have on display there. It's just phenomenal. That and the Autorama show in Detroit, I think, are probably the two best examples of modern automotive technology and rebuilds and hot rods and things of that nature. So I'm looking forward to that. Last year, I did it a little differently last year. I went by train last year, if you'll remember. I went from Ann Arbor to Chicago, Chicago to Los Angeles, and then I had to take Greyhound into Las Vegas because there's no train into Las Vegas at this time. I say at this time because the Florida company Brightline is building a line from the Los Angeles area to Las Vegas. And there's also talk that Amtrak is thinking of putting in service to Las Vegas. But had to do Greyhound, 5 hours into Las Vegas from Los Angeles, 7 hours coming back because they make extra stops. But I love traveling by train. However, this time I am not. I'm flying out of MBS this time because I couldn't get my schedule to line up the way I wanted. So I'm going to fly into Vegas. It's just, I treasure my vacation time. And I do that because it's detachment from everything else that I do all the time. And I recharge the batteries. No matter how I go, no matter where I go. The one thing I do not do on vacation is stay home. Because to me, if I stay home, it's not a vacation. I'm doing the same things I do every day. So for me, a vacation means leaving, going someplace else. Someplace I've been, someplace I haven't been. And I used to be of the mindset that I did not want to leave the United States. Not because I didn't want to see the rest of the world, But I had it in my mind. I wanted to see what I could see in the United States before I started looking elsewhere. Because of a trip we did here at the radio station a number of years ago, I've changed that attitude. That trip was to Switzerland. And I have to admit, Switzerland may be one of my 3 favorite places on earth. I say 3 because I have others. My 3 favorite places on earth prior to Switzerland was the Canadian Rockies, Jasper, Banff, and all of that, and anywhere in the United States. I love this country. I love to travel in this country. I have since added Switzerland to that list. And we did Switzerland by train. We took 3 different trains, including some of the big ones, the Glacier Express, Bernina Express, Gold Line. And it was spectacular. Front to back. It was a great trip. And again, I'm away. I don't worry about what's happening at home. I don't follow the news very much. But I come back feeling all right, ready to go. And it's always fun. And I've been doing it all my life. I mean, that's the way I have done it all my life. Can't think of a time when I took a week off just to stay home. I don't think I ever have. Maybe a day or 2 here or there, but never took a vacation to stay home. Anyway, take our last break this hour. Next hour, more open phones for you on the Art Lewis Show.
A 401k can be an important asset.
All right, we will take a break for the news. CBS coming up with the world and the nation. And then Michael Purchase in the WSGW newsroom to bring you up on the region and the state of Michigan. And then we will be back with more open phones to have good conversation. Coming up after the news.
Broadcasting from the
American effort to deter aggression in the Middle East.
The Marines are okay. They're now back on their ship. 13 migrants have died trying to cross the English Channel in a boat. At least 60 were thrown overboard when the boat was ripped apart by the treacherous waters of the Channel. They have been rescued. A man who made numerous calls to Congress is expected to be sentenced today, says CBS's Scott McFarlane.
According to the Department of Justice, Addie Lilly made approximately 12,000 harassing, menacing, and at times threatening phone calls targeting more than 50 congressional offices nationwide.
About 250 homes in an affluent suburb of Los Angeles are without electricity this morning. The power company shut it off. Southern Edison says it's concerned that its live lines will start a fire in an area that's experiencing slow-moving landslides. Craig Cadwallader says he's not sure what he's going to do now.
Everybody must assume that people who live in Rancho Palos Verdes are infinitely wealthy. That's not the case, especially for me, and so I literally don't know where I'm going.
This is what is supposed to be the final day of a strike by thousands of hotel workers across the country. They walked out after negotiations between their union and major hotel chains collapsed. Cade Watanabe is a union member in Hawaii.
We don't have the staffing, we don't have the tools, we don't have the resources to put our guests first. And that's exactly what our industry is about.
First it was bowling alone, now we're eating alone, says CBS's Jim Krasula.
Restaurant reservation site OpenTable says solo dining reservations in the U.S. increased about 30% over the last 2 years. OpenTable's CEO thinks remote work is one reason for the trend, with diners seeking respites from their home offices.
But that was off almost 1% at this hour. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit Progressive.com.
The old saying, the bitterness of pork. Live from the 100.5 and 790 newsroom, this is WSGW News.
Mostly sunny skies and 63 degrees at 10:05. Good morning. I'm Mike Percha. The body of an elderly Midland man who went missing while boating in Lake Michigan has been found. Police say last Thursday, two men, the elderly man and a 59-year-old Midland man, were boating about a mile from the pier in Frankfort in Benzie County when their boat capsized around 6 a.m. A nearby fisherman was able to pull the younger man from the water. A search response was launched involving the U.S. Coast Guard Station Manistee and multiple state, local, and tribal law enforcement agencies. The 86-year-old man's body was finally discovered about 11 hours later while the boat was towed back to the harbor. Police have not released the identity of the deceased man. The Huron County Sheriff's Department and the State Police Bomb Squad investigated a suspicious package last Friday. Sheriff Kelly Hansen says the package was delivered to a doctor's office behind the McLaren Thumb Region Hospital in Colfax Township. Hansen says hospital staff found the package along with spent ammunition and gun parts. The office was closed at the time, though police evacuated the surrounding area out of caution. The bomb squad determined the package contained lithium batteries meant for something like an electric scooter. The Grace A. Dow Memorial Library is hosting a free Halloween costume swap this October. You can donate gently used costumes from September 9th to October 3rd to attend a VIP shopping event on the 3rd, or you can shop for free on October 4th and 5th. Donations are not required for the public shopping event. Drop off costumes at the library's reference desks. For more information, call 989-837-3466. WSGW News Time, 10:07.
Stormmaster Exterior.
WSGW News Time, 10:08. The weather forecast is coming up. There were no issues on the Mackinac Bridge this morning. Traffic was moving smoothly after another successful Labor Day bridge walk. The Mackinac Bridge Authority estimated about 30,000 people walking the bridge yesterday morning, which is an above-average crowd compared to recent years. No flight disruptions are expected after a fire at a mid-Michigan airport. Here's Michigan News Network's Ryan Recker with the story.
Sunday evening in Lansing, a fire broke out in a 3,200-square-foot plane hangar at the Capital Region International Airport. It's said to be a total loss. Luckily, no one was hurt. Also reported there was diesel and aviation fuel and oil stored in the hangar. The airport authority says it will not impact operations and there are no flight service interruptions. Ryan Recker for the Michigan News Network.
It's another adventure for Jim the Shark Dreyer. The man who swam across Lake Michigan decades ago is trying again. After an unsuccessful attempt 3 weeks ago, Dreyer launched from Grand Haven last night and is en route towards Milwaukee, 83 miles away. He's towing 200 pounds of supplies with him, and the trip is expected to take 3 days. The swim raises money for the U.S. Coast Guard's Chief Petty Officers Association. The rest of Michigan's children are back in school today. Many districts are warning you should look out for kids as they wait for buses, and drivers should prepare to stop when a school bus has its overhead yellow lights flashing. Make sure to keep at least 20 feet from the bus when the overhead lights are flashing red, and slow down near school and residential areas. It's expensive to ignore the laws. Drivers who pass a stopped school bus can cause an injury and face a misdemeanor charge and either a fine of up to $1,000 or 1 year in jail. WSGW News Time, 10:10. I'm Mike Percha.
Saginaw, everything you need for home decorating, you're going to find it at Westside Decorating Center. Good morning to you. Welcome. Hour number 2 of the Art Lewis Show for this Tuesday. And here we are already in September. Wow. Time flies. I mentioned last hour that I'm going away in November to Las Vegas. And when I first made the flight reservations, it told me 123 days till check-in, I looked the other day and it was 60 or something like that. Well, what happened? Where'd the time go? This happens every year, though. I can remember in usually the end of March, I think, wow, the good days are ahead weather-wise and all of that, and baseball's getting underway. And then I blink and it's September. I don't know what happened in between. Anyway, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us today. Open phones this hour, whatever you'd like to chat about, 989-752-6111. You heard in the news that Mike reported the numbers of folks walking across the Mackinac Bridge, over 30,000, higher than normal, and different this year because they have closed the bridge. You know, in the past, usually the northbound lanes were the lanes that were walked in, and the southbound lanes had traffic, including buses that brought people back who walked across the bridge. Now they closed the entire bridge, walk on both sides, and if you walk all the way across the bridge, then you have to walk all the way back unless you got somebody waiting to bring you back. Or you can, in the middle of the bridge, turn around, cross over and go the other way, back where you came from, rather than walk the entire thing. Or you've got to walk the entire thing one way, turn around and walk the entire thing the other way. Have you ever done it? I've only done it once, and that was many, many years ago. And it was kind of a special, it was a special day for us. We had a friend who has a home up in that area and was a close friend of John Engler, who was the governor at the time. And we were invited up, and we took his boat over to Mackinac Island. And then in Mackinac Island, we got on a Shepler ferry along with the governor, Governor Engler. And we all got off the ferry in St. Ignace. They bussed us over to the bridge staging area. And we got to walk up front with the governor. And it's the only time I've ever crossed the Mackinac Bridge by foot. And it was interesting because the first part of it, when you go out along the causeway that leads to the actual bridge, you get offshore in St. Ignace and you're walking southbound. All those people, it sways a little bit. It's discerning. You wonder, is it going to hold up? It does, but it was kind of took me back a little bit while I was doing it. But it was interesting to walk across that structure. It's amazing. It's amazing, that bridge, how important it is to the lifeblood of Michigan and the Upper Peninsula. But didn't do it this time. No, I went across the bridge before. They closed it down well before, many days before. $4 each way. But what is disappointing, they have a Mac Pass, which is like like their version of a transponder, I guess. But they are not on the Easy Pass system. And that surprised me. Because Easy Pass, you can use it everywhere from Chicago to the East Coast and south. You can even use the Easy Pass on the bridge in Bay City. But you can't use it on the Mackinac Bridge. And I always wondered why that is. Why don't they just don't join the system, you know? Well, what can I tell you? Lines open for you at 989-752-6111. That is the number to call to chat about that or anything else you'd like to talk about, as my buddy Gene is about to do. Gene, good morning to you.
Good morning, Art. You were talking about walking the Mackinac Bridge. I'm old enough to remind you that they used to call it Soapy's Folly. It couldn't be done.
Really?
He said, G. Minnan Williams said, we will build it. And he did.
Oh, my goodness.
And now it's one of the wonders of the world.
It is an amazing structure. It really, truly is. I've seen, what's his name? Mike Mike Rhodes. What's it? Mike Rhodes? Mike. I can't think of his last name now. The guy that does Dirty Jobs. Rowe. Mike Rowe.
Oh.
He did a show one time painting the Mackinac Bridge.
Oh.
And that was, he does all these scary jobs, and they showed him up on the cable and walking down, and it was interesting. It was interesting. That's a never-ending project.
I thought you meant painting it on canvas.
No, I meant painting it. He was painting the bridge, yeah.
Oh, golly. Oh, it's something. Well, it's quite a structure, and we're all proud of it, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
have a good day, Art.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Gene.
Love you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, it is. It's impressive. No matter how you cut it, it's impressive. And stood the test of time and well maintained. Mackinac Bridge Authority maintains it, exquisitely, to say the least. All right, lines open for you, whatever you'd like to chat about that. Interesting vacations you've taken. Summer's almost over. Oh, and say what? Guess what? Football! Yep, it's that time already. And they're already talking about the Detroit Lions and how well they will do. And there was, Charlie mentioned this morning that someone ran a poll or a what if on the upcoming football season, and they showed the Detroit Lions defeating the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Wouldn't that be wild if the Lions could get back into it again and win the Super Bowl? Long overdue, to say the least. And I have to say, I'm not an avid football fan. In other words, what do I mean by that? I will watch football, but I don't know the players. I don't know very much about them at all. I do know that I am a fan of Coach Campbell and the Lions. And I will probably watch more football this year than I have in the past. Even some college football. I've never been into it, but it's not that I don't like the game or anything. It's just I never played it, and I am attracted to sports that I played as a youngster, with one exception: hockey. I never played hockey, but I love hockey. But I played baseball, I played tennis, I did track. I even played some soccer when I was in high school. I was athletic, and I enjoyed myself doing it. So, anyway, quick break, and then we'll get to Chris in Bay City. Chris, you'll be up next when we return. Let me ask how you slept last night. In this day and age, we're asked to do more for less, so when you go to bed and you spend, at least you should spend, a third of your life there, you need quality sleep, and you can get it with a quality mattress from Sanitary Mattress. You can visit all the so-called sleep stores, where you can rest assured the mattress you're using is manufactured right here in the Great Lakes Bay region, and it's done to your specifications. Your dollars are spent and they stay right here in our local economy. Your time in bed may be cut short by today's demanding world, but don't be fooled. You can still get a quality good night's sleep on a Sanitary Mattress. And they feature a 1-hour window delivery of your mattress to your home. Now, if you have an RV or a boat, Sanitary Mattress will custom make a mattress for you, something the box stores can't do. Visit the Sanitary Mattress Factory and Showroom, serving this area since 1935. Set your GPS to 5343 Janes Road, Saginaw. They're just east of the Harry Brown Airport. You can visit them on the web at sanitarymattress.com or call them at 989-753-1757.
It's Yacht Round.
Hi, we're back with you here on WSGW. And Chris is in Bay City. Chris, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Art. How are you?
Doing well, thanks.
I didn't hear the click.
It's because I did it during a commercial break, so that's why you didn't hear the click.
Okay,
I seized your phone early.
No, I didn't know if you bought your knife or not.
I have. I bought a Uper foldable and had it engraved while I was up there.
Cool. Hey, how's the leaves doing up there on the trees?
That's interesting you mentioned that, because they were starting to turn as I drove up a week and a half ago. There were a few trees that had begun to turn, and I noticed on the way down there were a few more. And I tell you what, a lot of them were in the lower peninsula, not the upper peninsula.
Really?
Yeah, but every now and then you'd find one that was red hanging out there. So they are starting to turn a little bit early, but not in great quantity yet.
I was just wondering. Other thing I wanted to throw in there real quick was I remember a trip I took one time, and I think I waited too long. In fact, I know I did, because we went up in mid-October for a fall color tour and got caught in a blizzard. 9 inches of snow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you missed it.
I know. I thought, here, I'm from Bay City, and I thought, they're just starting to turn here. Let's go up to the UP. So,
well, it's always a crapshoot. You never know.
I get it. I know.
Well, you never know. When we were in the tour business, we used to go up to Oscoda and take the boat trip during color season. And at least half the time there wasn't much color. At least half the time. And it was always the same time every year. So you never know.
Well, there's still a lot of parts around here, because I was working on a Frankenmuth a couple of years back, and I'd go out towards the Thumb area, and there were some beautiful roads and beautiful fall colors, and I'd see out there too. So.
Michigan is lush for that, but you got to hit it right.
Well, thanks for spending your time with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks for calling, Chris. Appreciate it. Bye now. Yeah, it's interesting Chris would ask that, because it was one of the things I was going to mention, the fact that, here it was, late August, and I'm heading up, and I'm already seeing trees that are beginning to turn. Not a lot. Again, it's not, it's not like all of a sudden things are changing. But, every now and then here's this red tree in the middle of all the rest of them, or orange or yellowish. And you could tell that they were just beginning. And that surprised me because of the weather we've had this year. I was kind of thinking it'd be late color this year, but what do I know? What does anybody know? I mean, that's one of those guessing games, It's like, have you ever gone over to the Tulip Festival in Holland? If you hit it right, it's gorgeous. Tulips are magnificent. If you hit it wrong because of the weather, it's a stick festival, because the only thing up there is stems, nothing left. And the color in Michigan is like that. The only thing is the color lasts longer, but still, to find it at its peak sometimes it's a real guessing game. Real guessing game. Fortunately, we live in a state that's beautiful and got a lot of it. And you don't have to go far to see much of it either. So anyway, again, lines open for you, whatever's on your mind that you'd like to chat about. Speaking of weather, Southern California is about to get smacked with another heat wave. They are expecting temperatures in Southern California to be almost 119 degrees in some places. I cannot imagine that. I don't do well in the heat to start with. I cannot imagine 119 degrees anywhere. But this certainly has been, the last couple of years unique in terms of weather, temperature swings. And, of course, with the dryness that they've had, it's almost conflicting in a way because they've had the dryness now that they've had the fires out there. But they've also had a ton of rain. A lot of the big lakes like Lake Powell, Lake Mead, have come back a little bit. I don't think they're back to full, but they've come back quite a bit. So it's interesting that on the one hand they've had the water they've needed, and on the other hand the heat now is driving fires and things of that nature. Let's talk to Alan in Saginaw Township. Alan, good morning.
Just talking about the timing of things. Yes, we've taken several color tours of the. Well, welcome back, by the way.
Thanks.
We all missed you, but the guys did a good job. We took a couple color tours to the UP a few years ago, 2 years in a row, and should have been here last week. Or a week late this year. No, we're 10 days late. It's like you say, it is a crapshoot, and we lucked out pretty much, but still. And then we're regulars, as you probably know, up at the Grand, and every year they have the Lilac Festival.
Oh yeah, I've been there for that.
Yeah, and some years there are no lilacs for the Lilac Festival.
Yeah.
They were all complaining about it, no lilacs, and we finally leave, getting back to the car and head down. And by the time we got, maybe even closer to the bridge, but somewhere near Pelston, lilacs all over the place. I mean, it's a little micro ecological system.
Well, at least you could say you see them when you went up.
Yeah, the island is just kind of unique in and of itself, and you can't, even if there's color one place, there isn't necessarily color on the island, or vice versa. It's just a unique situation up there.
Boy, it truly is, and that's another one of my favorite places. Although I must admit, Mackinac Island is not an every year place for me. To me, every other couple of years is fine. Mainly because it doesn't change that much.
Well, that's true. We just, I started going to the Grand Hotel with my parents when I was 5 in 1948.
Oh, is that right?
And been going there, in the last 20 years, we've been there lots of times.
Well, and, I saw it in my email the other day. I see they have a deal, $199 a person. I'm going, well, that's cheap compared to what they're charging now.
Oh, tell me about it, yes. But at any rate, we've just, it's always, I don't know, been close to my heart. I still I have photos that they took, of course, way back then. And so I remember, well, what it was like when I was there with my parents all those years ago. And it's always held that spot in my heart when I'm standing in the same places where I stood with my dad.
And not only that, other than the fact that, they've modernized the HVAC system and little stuff here and there, it hasn't changed all that much.
Oh, no, that's correct. And, of course, Bob Taggart's is a friend of mine as well. And,
me too.
Now, a question for you, and I don't know. When we were up there in late May, he was on the sick list and was not doing his normal, chats and tours and so on. And I called back when we made some reservations recently. I called back and I asked the lady, because she was up there, and I said, well, this is Bob. She said, well, I think he's back now. And so they actually hired a guy on a part-time basis to fill in for him. And we heard part of his spiel.
I don't know. I'll have to give him a call. I've got his number. He lives on the southwest side of the state, and I've got his number, but I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah, I haven't. I should just call him too. Yeah, if you get a chance, you might want to check on him and hope
I will.
He's all right, because he was he couldn't report for duty.
He is.
So I missed him.
He is probably, in my lifetime, the most unique character that I've ever met.
Yes, I would agree. And of course, a car guy too. And
car guy, historian. I mean, he's just an interesting character. He really, truly is.
as you probably know, he talks so quickly.
Yeah.
And so whenever I'm listening to his talks, and which have always intrigued me, of course, and we got a room full of people there, in that wine bar, and he'll go along and people say, "You're talking too fast." And he looks at me and points to me, and I go, "You got to listen faster."
Yeah. All right.
Okay, well, that's it.
Well, have a good one.
Colors.
Take care, Alan. Take care. Bye-bye now. For those of you that don't know or have never been to the Grand, Bob Taggett is the hotel historian. He is a historian of the old wood frame hotels in America and the railroad hotels in particular. And also a car guy, as Alan mentioned. And just a unique character. He's one of those people, and I'm sure there have been people in your life like this. When you meet him, you will never forget him. Ever. Just really a special, special guy. All right, we're going to take a pause here and then be back with more lines open for
Lincoln's
you.
Green Apple Barn is
back with you here on WSGW and back to our phones. Joe is in Willard. Morning, Joe.
Morning. Yeah, your first caller this morning, and when you started your show, said you want to start on a lighter note, she says. And Jean's a good girl, it's just that the little off base here with this Kamala stuff. As far as I'm concerned, Art, the way, and I understand she's an older lady, and sometimes they get taken in because my mother was that way. And, as far as her being a good mother to her stepchild, even a snake is good to children, so you got to kind of take it. You got to take it with a grain of salt there.
Yeah, well, no. How she was as a mother has nothing to do with her politics. You can totally disagree with her politics. That doesn't make her a bad mother. Doesn't make her a bad person. No more than Democrats looking at Republicans who disagree should think the Republicans are bad people because they think the way they think.
Well, Art, the only problem is I was in the military, Art, and I'm gonna tell you what, I love my country.
Me too.
And what I see, Art, is what's going on with us. It makes me sick to my stomach.
Well, politically, I'm not disagreeing with you politically. Not at all.
We have to do something. If we don't do something in this next election cycle, our country's going to go to hell in a handbasket. The world is laughing at us, and our enemies are building their military off of our money because we don't have sense enough to bring our businesses away from China. Mm-hmm. Everything there's so much going on over there in China that's being built by slave labor and sent back to this country. And a lot of people aren't even aware of what they're buying in Walmart and wherever that is built by slaves.
Well, here's you bring up an interesting. Yeah, here's the thing, Joe. When you say that, the reason that happens is people don't care. They buy price, nothing else.
Yeah,
and that's a problem.
But it is a problem because the thing about it is, if the people whose ancestors were slaves would take into consideration 5 seconds and think about that, would they have bought things if they lived in the north and their ancestors were in the south building things?
Mm-hmm.
That the northern the ex-slaves were. Yep. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I betcha. So you have a good one, Art. We missed you. The Art Lewis Show, when you're not there, Art, is only a name only.
All right.
And
thanks.
we miss you.
Appreciate it, Joe. Bye-bye now.
Yeah, bye.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, more calls, and then we'll move on from there. And we return here on the Art Lewis Show. Out to Sheridan we go to talk to Carol this morning. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning. Long time no chat, my dear.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you got to the UP. All these places we've horsed around with for years. I'm glad you finally get to enjoy some of them.
Yeah.
Well, it is, and it's different. The Upers are very different. and you was telling about, having to get around cars and, hurry. And most of them, it's just a place to stuck in and enjoy, don't you think?
Yeah.
It really is neat.
And nobody is in a hurry.
No. And they're beyond some of this garbage we have down here. They really are. You just have to take a deep breath and enjoy.
Yeah.
And we go to the State Forest Campground, which remains unnamed because we don't want no more people there. And our son, don't kid yourself. Ever since there were some of these places that there were 4 of us in there, and now you've got to wait for days or get somebody to get you a spot. It's crazy. The last 5 years, it's kind of ruined. It really has. It's ruined us for us. And although our son-in-law had a flat tire, and you dink with these little tiny flippy jacks that are worthless, and I had my back turned, and I just knew it was a floor jack, coming. And this kid had brought a floor jack to a State Forest campground.
Of course.
Of course, you always bring your floor jack. and he said, they're so wonderful. After this little dinky one, it's a fair-sized car. And he says, well, when you get your tire back, he says it's by the side of the trailer. He says, if I'm not here, just put it back. And that's the way.
That's the way it is.
Yeah, and these were lower. These were people around Traverse. They weren't Yoopers,
Yeah.
But in the State Forest campgrounds and the camp, we don't do state parks. They're grubby anymore. They're awful. But
not all of them.
Anyway, well, there's too many people, and they have electricity. And if you go in a State Forest campground, see, they don't have power.
Oh, you want to rough it? Yeah.
Yeah, and so they have all these boom boxes and all this garbage. And it used to be if you farted around in a State Forest campground or in a campground, you were out.
Yeah.
They put you. Well, now it's
Yeah. Gotcha.
It's just you might as well be home almost maybe.
Yeah. All right.
but it was real cool because here who would bring a State Forest
floor jack to it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Funny.
yeah, and it's just like that up there. But it takes
is.
you a couple of days, and you get away from all this terrible stuff down here. It's a unique place, and I'm glad to hear some of these places you went that that we've enjoyed for years up there.
All right, good enough,
you
Carol.
take care.
Thanks.
Yep.
Take care.
Yep,
Bye now.
bye-bye.
And here is Gary in Saginaw. Gary, good morning.
Good morning. I'm going to be moving real fast here. I've been to Mackinac Island once. I'd like to go there again before I cash in my chips. I've got a little joke about Mackinac Island. The guy said that the worst business that he ever had was a Nestle dealership on Mackinac Island. And anyway, I'm not necessarily a man of faith, but boy, in my younger days, when I left a bar in my 20s, by the grace of God, I never ran over anybody. And these 2 hockey players, that's devastated their family. And if I ever drive again, I'm not even going to have a single drink. If you drink at all, just stay home or have somebody drive you.
Good advice.
And that's a tragedy. And also, I want to differ with you a little bit on sports. I think this country is a little too obsessed with sports. I know Rome fell for a lot of reasons. Partially it was because of sports, but I think people should, take sports in perspective and.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Don't misprioritize it.
Yeah. So that's about it. I'm gonna let you go.
All right, Gary. Thanks. Take care. Bye now. All right, I'm going to reserve this last 2 minutes here. I'm going to give you a heads up on something you're going to be hearing more about in the very, very near future. We are planning another one of our WSGW tours next year, and this one is a big one, to the National Parks of America, September 11th through the 22nd. It's a Colette vacation. You will fly down to Scottsdale, Arizona. We'll pick you up at Saginaw, take you down to Detroit, and fly you to Scottsdale, Arizona. And you will do Scottsdale, Sedona, the Grand Canyon, Lake Powell, Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon National Park, Salt Lake City, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, Grand Tetons and Jackson Hole, Yellowstone National Park, and Cody, Wyoming. And you will also do Mount Rushmore. And let's see what else. In Rapid City. All on this Colette vacation. I will have more information for you and flyers in the very near future. But again, it will be September 11th through the 22nd of next February. No, I'm sorry, next September. So just about a year from now. And again, I will. You'll hear about it in another week or two. You'll start to hear announcements about it. We're also going to have a Zoom meeting with Ed McKenna from Colette Vacations to tell you all about it. So just start thinking about whether you'd like to see all these magnificent national parks of America. It's going to be a fabulous, fabulous trip. All right, with that said, we will take our last break, come back, and then we'll tell you what's ahead on Focus.
We're proud to make Team Show weekdays 5:30 to 9 on WSGW.
All right, that'll do it for the Art Lewis Show for today. Tuesday, the 3rd of September already. Coming up on Focus, we're going to talk to folks from Gateway Healthcare and something they have coming up called Concert for a Cause. But before that, news from CBS and the local report with Michael Percha. Then we'll be back with Focus. I'm Art Lewis. Have a good day.
Broadcasting from the